Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your astrologer friend and guide, Irfan, from your very own channel, Astro Assurance. This is the last video that I am going to post for the results for November 2019 for all the ascendant signs, which we have already done from Aries till Capricorn so far, till Aquarius so far. Today we are going to talk about the results or the predictions or the probable predictions for Pisces natives from a Vedic astrology or a sidereal point of view for November 2019. However, these predictions will resonate very strongly also with those people who consider themselves to be very strong Pisces zodiac people or person, and also for those people who have the moon in Pisces. So let's start with what are the probable predictions or the results that Pisces natives can expect in the month of November 2019. Now, as I have said for all the videos, for all the other signs, that these 3 months, November, December and January, are extremely important for all the signs because of 7 planets all posted in the 3 important signs, especially related to relationships, that is Libra, Scorpio and Sagittarius. And why are these 3 months important? Because these 7 planets are going to share a lot of energies, conflicting energies. Some of them are going to be in retrograde. Some of them are going to be placed with other strong malefic energies, like Jupiter is going to be placed with Saturn and Ketu, that too in the 10th house of career. Sun is going to go into the 8th house in the sign of Libra, that too in a sign of debilitation. So these are upheaval times for all of us, especially for Pisces, as the position that I have just explained you for. However, Libra being the sign of relationships, Scorpio being the sign of obstacles, upheavals, also the sign of life, and obstacles and upheavals to life, and Sagittarius being the sign of religion, morals, religious ceremonies, spirituality, travel, father, fate, gains, higher learning, higher education and so forth. All these energies will manifest in some way or the other for all the signs, and for Pisces being related to 8th, 9th and 10th houses. So for Pisces natives, it is going to affect your relationships very strongly, as well as it will affect your career very, very strongly. Okay, so let's start with the Sun in the sign of Libra in the 8th house when you start the month. Now Sun rules the 6th house of service for Pisces natives. However, what is the 6th house? The 6th house is the house of hidden enemies, people who work behind your back, also your colleagues and people who report into you. They also are denoted by the 6th house. However, the 6th house is also the house of challenges in your service or career if any malefic energy goes into it. And it is also the house of day-to-day activities, because your work or career is also something that you do on a day-to-day basis. That's why the 6th house is also the house of day-to-day activities or day-to-day dealings that you do. Now, the ruler of the 6th house, that is Sun, for Pisces natives, is going into its debilitation sign of Libra in the 8th house. Now, what is the 8th house? It is the house of upheavals, obstacles, life and all that I've just already told you, but it is also the house of in-laws. Also the house of all those virtual money, virtual data, all those things which are under the ground or hidden. So when the lord of the house of day-to-day activities and loss of relationships, the 6th house is the 12th house to the 7th house. So loss of relationships are also seen from the 6th house, or loss of committed relationships or marital relationships are also seen from the 6th house. Now the 6th lord going into the 8th house in its debilitation sign means upheavals in marriage. Sudden upheavals in marriage, which could also involve your in-laws, because the 8th house is also the house of in-laws. So strongly, the matter could go to such an extent that in-laws could get involved in your marital affairs, where your spouse goes and talks to your parents, or then that leads to you going and talking to her parents, and they could also get involved. To some extent, it could also mean that one of your in-laws may also face challenges in health. Specifically, your father-in-law may face challenges in health. So, start of the month, it's not a bad idea to get the health checkup done for your father-in-law. Father-in-law is as good as your father, being the spouse's father. So, no harm in getting a health checkup done. And there is many nagging issues to immediately take care of his health. So, just do look into that. Now, coming back to the relationships point of view, the 6th house Lord going into the 8th house in a debilitation sign means sudden upheavals in marriage and marital relationships, which could also affect challenges to your gains or the house of fate, because Sun is going to move into the 9th house later part of the month in November. But how do you deal with the Sun in a debilitation sign where in-laws getting involved also? The best way to deal with this is, if anything comes up as an idea for dispute resolution, don't talk much, deal with it calmly, don't lose your cool. Sun also means self-respect, authority, also pride, also arrogance. A small line cross means you can show yourself as arrogant or proud, and a little less can mean that you have no self-respect. Okay, so the line between having no self-respect and completely humiliating yourself or giving in for relationships or in front of others, or pushing the boundary to come across as arrogant is thin. However, in the matter of relationships, it is better to err on the side of discretion. So, rather than come out as arrogant or somebody who is very proud and who has a lot of ego and shows personality issues, it is always better to come across as more humble, more patient, more reasonable, more thoughtful, more mature. So, put off any decision that you take for the first 15 days till Sun moves into Scorpio, into your 9th house and joins Venus there. That means the problems are not ending after the first 15 days, because Sun is going to join Venus in Scorpio, which also denotes the 8th house. So your troubles are not over in the first 15 days. However, they are much less in the next 15 days. And in the next 15 days, when Sun joins Venus in the 9th house, in the sign of Scorpio, you are better placed to handle those challenges. Now, before Sun moves, it is also important to ensure that you are not, you behave with confidence. Being patient doesn't mean that you do not show confidence. If you do not show confidence, then people at work behind your back may be able to put you down in meetings or in emails, and they come across as very aggressive and assertive, and you are playing, you're playing with folded hands. So you may be seen as somebody who's weak, who doesn't can't defend their own work, doesn't have trust on his own projects, doesn't have trust on his own leadership. So you don't want to do that, especially at work, because 6th Lord getting into the 8th house, 6th house is the house of service and career. Play confident. You don't need to shout, scream, but hold on to and say, I stand by my data, I stand by my work. If something needs to be done, we will relook into it. But I stand by my team, I stand by my work, and we will relook into it and we'll get back to you. Play for time. Till Sun moves into your 9th house, where it is more stronger in Scorpio. There you can play your game there. So for the first 15 days, play safe. This is also because Mars is going to join Sun and retrograde Mercury in the 8th house. The first few days, retrograde Mercury. Now, what is Mercury ruling for Pisces ascendant natives? Mercury is ruling your 4th house and your 7th house. Now, Mercury is ruling your 4th house and 7th house, and getting retrograde into the 8th house means misplaced communications in the matters of house, home, domestic life, and matters of marriage. Misunderstood communications. And also Sun being the Lord of the 6th house of service and getting into the 8th house with Gemini, with Mercury in retrograde, which rules the 4th and the 7th house, Gemini and Virgo, which means that you may have misplaced or misunderstood communication, both related to marriage as well as your career. Two very important areas of your life. Nothing can be more important. 4th house is also the house of domestic peace, mental happiness, mental peace and domestic happiness, which means everybody in the household gets involved. So in a way, the entire life is revolving around the 8th house for at least for the first 15 days. So if you make any wrong decisions, career could get affected and your personal life could get affected because of misplaced communication, misunderstood communication. So it is better that you speak less, but when you speak with clarity. Don't talk in dual tones, and don't be very committed for anything. Say yes, we will resolve the issue, we'll resolve to everybody's satisfaction. I promise you that nobody will be unhappy. Let's look at it, once again, let's talk about it and let's close it. And I'm assuring that everything will be close to everybody's satisfaction. So assure people, buy time till Sun moves into Scorpio. Now when Sun moves into Scorpio, before that Mars also is going to join in the 8th house with Sun and Mercury. What does Mars rule? Mars rules the second house of Aries, which is the house of income, house of savings. So for Pisces ascendant natives, Aries is the second house lord or second house sign, ruled by Mars. The other is Mars also rules the 9th house of fate, luck, and that is going to join Sun and Mercury in the 8th house. That means your fate and luck and your earnings are connected to how you behave in the first 15 days with Sun and Mercury in the 8th house. So it's a very tricky position for Pisces natives in the first 15 days. So be very, very sure how you behave yourself, how you manifest yourself, how you hold yourself, how you project yourself, how you communicate, and how you hold yourself up. Because your earnings and savings could get affected because your fate is getting to get into a locked up mode with how you behave in the first 15 days. In the next 15 days, when Sun joins Venus in Scorpio, it means the troubles subdue a little bit. But now you have a slightly upper hand. However, Sun being in Scorpio means you hold your cards close to your chest in matters of marriage, in matters of travel, in matters related to career. Play your cards close to your chest. Don't reveal anything to anybody easily, and take one step at a time. Especially when you're dealing with people of the opposite gender, because Venus rules your 8th house, and Venus also rules your 3rd house of effort. So when Sun is joining the Lord of the 3rd house of effort and the 8th house of sudden upheavals and all mysterious things, which means you'll have to put in a lot of effort to subdue the matters of the 8th house of challenges, obstacles, upheavals in relationships and in life in general. So play yourself safe, deal with the opposite gender with care, hold your cards close to your chest, and deal with wisdom, deal with fortitude, deal with confidence, deal with right communication without mixing your messages. Why? Because also the 9th house in which Sun moves in joining Venus is also the house of travel, and is also ruled by Mars, which is the 2nd house of income, which means that how you deal with people in the second half of the month has a bearing on your career and on your earnings and your fate or luck. It may change basis how you deal. This is also strongly denoted because Jupiter is going to move from your 9th house in Scorpio into the 10th house of its own sign Sagittarius, and joining Saturn and Ketu there. Now, because Jupiter rules the 10th house of career and the Lagna also, and moves into his own sign, it gives strength to the career. That means all those people who are seen as gurus or consultants or wise people or leaders or managers or supervisors, all leadership roles across any industry, the focus will be on you. Any middle manager, any team leader, any senior manager, senior vice president, CEOs, MDs, all the leaders, whoever are seen as masters in their line or very, very wise in the area of work, leaders in the area, in their divisions, they all will be in focus. This is strongly denoted more for the supporting teams rather than the execution team. So in any company, you will have a main execution team and you will have a support advisory roles. Those are strategic teams, training teams, quality teams, safety teams who advise the execution team how to go about doing their work. All those departments are in focus because of Jupiter moving into the 10th house, and because Saturn is ruling your 11th and 12th houses. 11th house is the house of connections, social connections, also working for large organizations. But Saturn is also very process oriented planet, which means that as long as you have a process approach to your work, process oriented approach to your to decision making in the month of November, also in December and January, right now we're talking about November, then your career will be enhanced. You may be given a role as a slightly higher role, as a stronger leadership role, or that of a guru, or that of a consultant. If you are not given a promotion, then at least you will be given a much meatier role, or ask for a meatier role. This is the right time for you. However, for everybody the results may not come in, because Saturn is placed there along with Ketu, two very strong malefic energies, and those who are not very well matched with Jupiter, even in spite of Jupiter moving into its own sign in the 10th house. So it will be slightly tricky, especially Ketu absorbs all the results of the house it is placed in. So career will take a slow takeoff. So don't expect the moment 15th of November, 5th of November comes, Jupiter moves into Sagittarius, something will happen. It will take 2 to 3 months. In fact, till Saturn moves out of Sagittarius into its own sign in Capricorn by the end of January 2020, don't expect very strong results to come in. However, keep pushing for your role, keep asking for your roles in a nice manner, but in a soft but strong manner, assertive manner, where you say, no, I require this and I'm willing to it, but this is the role I'm looking for, this is what I want to do. And ask for meteor role, and it may come by to you also, either in the next 2-3 months, or post Saturn making its transit into its own sign of Capricorn post January 2020. For some, the results may come slightly slower, and maybe after Ketu's transit in September into Scorpio, leaving Jupiter alone in the 10th house in Sagittarius. That's when most people will find a change in the career. Suddenly, whenever Ketu transits, moves, or somebody transits over Ketu, some results come about. That's why 5th November to 15th of November, something strong may come about. Or next year, September, when Ketu transits into Scorpio, also something may come about. And to some extent, Saturn's transit into Capricorn at end of January 2020 may also bring some results. So brace yourself, all the signs, especially for Pisces people, because your 8th, 9th and 10th houses are getting involved with all these energies for the next 3 months. And because Saturn, Ketu and Jupiter are going to be placed in your sign in the 10th house till end of January. For next 3 months, ups and downs, upheavals, opportunities plus downfall in career will come about, depending how Jupiter, Saturn and Ketu are placed in your horoscope. So for example, if Saturn is placed very strongly in the 3rd house for Pisces natives, placed in Taurus, then you may get better results in the next 3 months, because this is the sign of a businessman. So if you're a businessman, you have business or you own a business, or even in partnership, because the 11th Lord is also getting into the 10th house, even then you may get more or better gains. So brace yourself for the next 3 months, especially if you're a businessman. Also for people who are all in those roles which are related to process related industries, whether it's manufacturing, or whether it is law and order, or it is about justice. So one more thing, justice will come to you, or just things will come to you in the next 2 to 3 months. So if somebody else is more, I would say, apt for the role, and so to be fair to that person, you may also be, the other person may overshadow you and get the role. So prepare yourself for justice. If something happens to you either ways, hope or expect that, or accept that this is more justice playing its part, and wait for your time, because it will play very soon, with Jupiter moving into Sagittarius, which is a very fiery sign, and in the 10th house of your career. So all these results may manifest. For those people who have children, especially with your 5th house being ruled by Cancer, by Moon, which is also very watery energy, and Pisces being a very watery energy, and also the 9th house of Scorpio playing a very strong part, all three water energies. So there may be a lot of fluidity in your relationships, dealing with children, dealing with spouse. So give them time, spend time with them, and take care of everybody's emotions, because a lot of emotional upheavals, ups and downs, with Pisces being airy-fairy and more imaginative. Where if you're married to Virgo and they are more have their nose to the ground, eye to the ground, so it's not going to be easy. So deal with emotions in a calm manner, in a patient manner, and allow better sense to prevail, because you being ruled by Jupiter, I'm sure you will allow wisdom to get the better of you, rather than push for with Sun in Libra, push for challenges. So all these a lot of potpourri of emotions, upheavals may happen with 8th, 9th and 10th houses getting all very, very strong energies. Okay, friends, so take care of your health also, because Sun ruling the 6th house going to the 8th house. So for those people who have any chronic problems, suddenly, and if you have thought you have taken care of it, they may suddenly shoot up, which may need you to run to the hospital. Those people who have heart ailments, Sun also constitutes your heart to an extent, and immunity. If you eat something which is not fair, which is not fair to your stomach or to your general eating habits, it may snowball into some challenges, requiring you to suddenly rush to the clinic. People with heart ailments, please take care of yourself. 6th Lord going to the 8th house in the sign of upheavals, making you again palpitations, higher blood pressure and all may manifest, especially with Mars also coming there. So take care of yourself, do cardio exercise, light cardio exercise, don't push yourself too much in the gym, drink lots of water, do a lot of pranayam, and see that you ensure that next 1 month or so, at least you take care of yourself, so that all is well. Okay, and for those people who are thinking of traveling or working in MNCs or working as consultant for some companies, this is also a good time for you. Saturn rules your for Pisces ascendant natives 12th house and moves into the 10th house of career. So if you play your cards well, if you deal wisely with people, with management, with superiors, good results can be expected from foreign lands, foreign companies, or dealing with foreign clients and foreign consultants. Okay, so friends, if you're a cross watcher and you're watching this video for somebody else, while you may not be a Pisces native, please share this video with them, so that the people who you're watching for, who are Pisces natives, whether they are your children or a spouse or parents or siblings, they can also benefit and profit from this video. Okay, and please like this video, please subscribe to this channel, and please press the bell icon so that you get to know when my new video is coming. I will be posting videos on some other areas of life over the next week or so, before we get into addressing videos for the predictions for the month of December for all the signs. Okay, and if you're looking at for a consultation from me, please reach out to me at my email ID given in the links below. And till we meet some other time, this is your friend astrologer guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.